soul, and they're going to help you overcome depression and anxiety and trauma. Perhaps. But if you're a Christian, the Bible warns against drunkenness, a lack of sobriety. It encourages us to be vigilant and aware. Most Christians have taken this to mean that we shouldn't take any psychedelic drugs. Now, what if the United States government said tomorrow, all psychedelics are legal and they've been good for 100 years, we've known it, but we've been hiding it for you? What are you going to do as a Christian? By the end of this video, I will give you 5 ways that you can safely explore the psychedelic experience as a Christian that aligns with biblical principles. The last time I put this one out was a little too intellectual, so I'm going to try and keep it more, right across the board. So make sure you like, share, subscribe. If this actually speaks to you and serves you, like, share, and subscribe. So this can get out to a lot of people. People that have the intellectual ability to grasp these concepts. But not just that, spiritual ability. It's about spiritual maturity. I know 10-year-olds that can hear what I'm saying and get every single word. I know 50-year-olds that, I'd have to talk to them until I was blue in the face. They still wouldn't get it. All right. So anyway, if you are a Christian, you're considering psychedelic usage, and you're concerned that it violates biblical codes, biblical ideas, I am here to tell you that by the end of this video, you'll have a much clearer understanding. In the description to this video, I will leave a list of verses that relate to psychedelics. By the way, you will not find the word psychedelic anywhere in the Bible. It does not exist in the Bible, period, ever once. The word psychedelic pretty much came about in the 60s and 70s. It was created. It just means psyche, which is mind or spirit. Delos means revealing. So psychedelos, which is this revealing of the mind. And so mushrooms, various plants that, lots and lots and lots and lots of different plants produce compounds that cause our brains to function differently. The United States government in our nation has decided that those compounds should be scheduled as highly dangerous and illegal. They have their reasons for that. Whether they're good or wrong is irrelevant. As an apex Christian, your purpose in this life is to create the best life that you can here and now and have a wonderful life. And if using psychedelics can potentially help you with that, then there are some precautions that you should probably take as an apex human, as a child of the Most High God. All right, so the Bible has multiple verses that talk about enchantments, and this is the Old English word for potions and notions and potions and brews and things like this that would cause your mind to operate differently than it does in normative consciousness. All right, and most of these verses are in the New Testament. There's only one in the Old Testament, that's in Proverbs, but that refers to wine specifically, so you don't have to worry about it. The Old Testament, they were probably doing all kinds of psychedelics. All right, New Testament, they were as well. Read Brian Murarescu's book, The Immortality Key, if you care to have intellectual fest. I mean, I really get high on that stuff, so apparently I'm extremely rare. I know I am. All right, so anyway, the verses are listed below, but if you look in 1 Peter 1:13 and 4:7, it talks about avoiding lack of sobriety. You've got to be sober because we're in the end times. Of course, they said this 2,000 years ago, and we're still in the end times, so apparently that's not what it meant, people. When you read the Bible and it says something, oh, tomorrow Jesus comes, and it was written 2,000 years ago, they're obviously not talking about what you think they're talking about. You got to read the Bible a little deeper. All right, so overall, the Bible wants us to avoid enchantments, drunkenness, and a lack of sobriety, just because as an apex child, as a child of the Most High God, our job is to protect against vulnerability in the world. This is a problematic world. It's run by Satan. Satan is the god of this world. Not a bad thing, not an awful thing. It's just what it is. And so if you are a child of the Most High God, you are his competition. He can create in this world. You can create in the world to come and in this world. So you are a threat to him and his authority. And he likes to be, the authority of this world. I mean, that's how he holds reality in place on this level of reality. But as a child of the Most High God, you have the ability to bend, shape, recreate, and redistribute the components of reality. And so that is a challenge to the Prince of Darkness, which is the Prince and the God of this world. But when you're covered by the Most High in the blood of Christ, in the realist sense, beyond the metaphorical sense, you have the ability to shape this world and to create in a way that is extremely powerful. Okay, so I'm getting absolutely no engagement, and that I find strange. And it's a little frustrating. Oh, 2 people. Okay, somebody's watching. Thanks. All right, if you're watching and you care about this, make sure you drop a like and say something in the chat. Otherwise, go away, please. I'd rather have 0 people watching than people don't get it. And they're asking me, oh, what's your car? Oh, do you watch TV? All right, that means you're too young to be here. Get out. All right, so as children of the Most High God, as apex humans, apex Christians, we are in a world that doesn't understand us as a chosen person. And, you're part of the 0.1 of the 0.1%. Okay. So, you're extremely rare and you're extremely valuable. And so, if you can be utilized for the Prince of Darkness to rule over the worms, then okay, you're probably not going to have as much of a target placed on you. But if you are here to rebuild God's kingdom, to bring heaven back to earth, then you're probably going to have a target on you. So you need to be a little more careful with these sorts of substances. Mainstream Christians should probably just not take psychedelics at all until the government says it's okay and has said it's okay for 60 years. Then you can let daddy government tell you what to do, and that's your God. It's okay. All right, hello. Ohio Sigma Boy, you're back. Hello and welcome back. We're talking about psychedelics here. I don't know how old you are, and I don't even know if you know what the word psychedelics means. It seems that no one knows what that word even means. So I'm probably speaking to children. But if you're a child, please go somewhere else. I hate to say that because this is mature audience content. All right. So anyway, the Bible talks about enchantments. By the end of this video, you'll know how to safely do psychedelics if you're a Christian. So enchantments. An enchantment is any time you would take a brew or a substance and it would cause your mind to be very open and vulnerable. And the Bible warns against that. We don't want to be that vulnerable as apex humans. We want to be powerful. Okay, so you really want to be sober and clear in all things, right? Clear-minded, all right? Disciplined. Yep. All right. So let's talk about the fallacies in the plant medicine world. There are 4 major fallacies, and I have to check people on this because I get annoyed hearing this. I hear so many people say these terms, and I've explored psychedelics for many years, and and I know them very well, and they're not what people claim them to be. Okay, so I'm gonna have an honest conversation with you about it. If you have questions, let me know. Okay, Ohio. So can you tell me communism how it worms? Okay, I think you're saying how it works because in college they say to me it's bad. We're all building walls, and I just want to know. Well, communism is not part of this conversation. Yeah, I get you. You said I'm at work. Talking about psychedelics here. I don't want to detract from the conversation too much, as Ohio Sigma Boy. But what I will say is that communist nations were anti-psychedelic as well. The idea of communism is that we are part of a group, and we are working together in this group, and we should put away our individual consciousness to serve the means and the ends of the group. And so communism is bad in the sense that it nullifies. Okay. Communism is bad. How old are you? I'm trying to think of what kind of words to use here. I'm not going to use too much profanity, but I will make sure I use words that have less than 3 syllables. Let me just speak as if I'm speaking to a 5th grader. Communism is bad because you are an individual. You are unique. And so communism is bad because it crushes your uniqueness. God made you special and unique. And so communism says you should be a mindless part of the herd, a mindless part of the herd. And so in the United States, we value individuality. We value being a unique person. We value standing apart and being special. Communism discourages that. It wants you to be part of the group, part of the proletariat group. The bourgeois are like the people that have money and education and power and influence are considered bad. As an apex human, we are the more than the bourgeois. The word bourgeois is poorly defined here because it's used incorrectly by the communists. bourgeois are not the high class. They're like the middle class at best. But the aristocrats, we as apex humans are the aristocrats. We are the top of the food chain. We are the apex predators on the savannah. You know, there are thousands and millions of bison and of wildebeest and deer and antelope, right? But there's only a couple hundred lions and leopards, and you know what I'm saying? So we are the rarest ones, but we are the ones that have an influence in society. We shape culture. We shape the future of the human species. We are bringing heaven into this world. And so communism really doesn't want that. They don't want this world to be a paradise for everyone. They want it to be a paradise for the state. The state should have all the power. The state should have all the control, not the individual. So in the United States, we're a capitalist, individualistic, uh, constitutional republic. And so that means that the rights of the individual are very important. So you, the entire nation, can't come and do something bad to you. All 330 million Americans can't do something bad to you because of the Constitution, because of the laws, because of the legislation and Congress and Senate and all the structures of our government protect you as the individual. In communism, it doesn't matter. If 1,000 people say that you're wrong for wearing a blue shirt, you should be hung by your toes, then you're just going to get hung by your toes. It is what it is. You don't have a say in the fight. So that's why communism's bad. All right. All right. Yeah. Thanks. Who is Ohio Sigma boy? Oh, this is Max from. Let's see, Maps Max from German. That's a cool name. Max from German. Ubenstein, Germanstein. All right. So we're talking about psychedelics. Psychedelics are a class of drugs that the United States is generally considered highly highly dangerous and illegal. And I would agree with the United States to an extent. And a lot of people in the psychedelic world say, "Oh, psychedelics aren't dangerous; they don't kill you." Yeah, there are like 3 psychedelics that will actually end your life. Okay, and one of them is a plant called Datura. So yes, psychedelics can kill you and they can cause you to lose your mind. Okay, so don't get it twisted. Now, I'm not against psychedelics, but I think that right now we're in this great change where everybody's like pro psychedelics. Psychedelics are going to save the world. If everybody just ate some mushrooms, we'd all be happy. No, we wouldn't. People that say that have only had very low threshold doses of mushrooms. They've never had enough mushrooms to make them really respect that compound, that instrument, that tool. It's not a medicine, it is a tool. So let's get into a lot of the problematic conversations around psychedelics. Okay? First of all, psychedelics are referred to as plant medicine. Now, my big problem with it, and I have to talk to people about it because there are people I engage with that utilize these things and help people in this realm outside of the country where it's legal, and or in places of the country that have legalized it. And they use terms like plant medicine. Now, those of us who've traveled in these realms long enough, yeah, you can call it that. But how long are you going to need medicine? At what point do you just heal and get over it? Well, I get my plant medicine. I have plant medicine. I'm going to take the plant medicine. At what point does the medicine work? If you're calling it plant medicine, you're doing it for 20 years, and you're still taking plant medicine, is it working? Like if I went to the store and I had a headache and I went and took some ibuprofen, and then I just kept going there every single week and keep taking ibuprofen, well, I probably don't need to take ibuprofen because it's not working. I need to take something that's going to solve the problem and I'm going to move on with my life. That's the promise of Jesus Christ. That's the promise of the Holy Spirit. That's the promise of God, is that giving you life abundantly, healing, solutions, fixes to the problem. Christ died for our sins. We don't have to worry about that anymore when we accept his gift of salvation. It's done. So in the church and Christianity and things like that, they tell you all these things. Oh, okay, Jesus died for your sins, but you're still a sinner and you're still a loser. Okay, so what are we doing here? And so the plant medicine dependence fantasy is something that is a big problem in the psychedelic community that you have to avoid if you're a Christian. All this plant medicine bullshit, Jesus is the medicine, okay? Jesus is the solution. If you decide to engage with these substances, understand that and utilize them as tools, as instruments to do a certain job. If they don't do the job, stop using them. It's that simple. All right, we got a lot of things here. All right. The kid who says he's in college. Okay, for the phone. Okay. All right, guys, if you're under a certain age, leave the chat, please. All right. The second thing that is a problem in the psychedelic community, I'll just make another video to talk about 5 ways that Christians can explore safely. That's going to be a whole nother video. All right. The second thing that we have to think about here with psychedelics is that there's this zeitgeist of a crutch. The whole plant medicine concept is like mushrooms or LSD or MDMA or all these other things. These people take them like consistently over and over again, and it becomes a crutch. So it's like, I can't be spiritually elevated until I take some mushrooms, or I can't be whatever until I drop some acid or do some MDMA. Then I can see the beauty of life when I take these psychedelics. Well, if you can't see the beauty of life without them, or you need them to enhance the beauty of life, you've got issues bigger than the substance. You probably should stop taking them. Okay, that's the second problem. The third problem with psychedelics is the rubber band effect. So the people will take psychedelics and they're going to feel great for about 2 weeks. They just feel the top of the world. Everything is beautiful. I'm going to go and conquer the world. I'm going to do good things. I'm going to love everybody. And then a month in, they start hating their life. And then they got to go and take their psychedelics again. It's the rubber band effect. Again, a walk with Christ, a genuine walk with Christ, a genuine experience with God changes your life forever. You have that experience. You feel the presence of God, and then you literally are a different person afterwards. Now, that can happen with psychedelics too. There's lots of studies that show that. You have one very deep, powerful hero dose psychedelic experience, and you can heal from years of trauma. Okay, that actually is empirically documented. Okay, so let's not pretend as it doesn't happen. But what happens is a lot of people do these threshold doses or right up to the threshold, and they say, "Ooh, the colors are great and the flowers, and I love everybody," and they keep doing that. Oh, let's just do it every weekend, and they don't ever get anywhere. And that's my problem with the psychedelic community, is the rubber band effect. There's no lasting growth. All right, and then if you're in the chat and this is serving you, make sure you drop a like. Otherwise, go somewhere else. All right, and then finally, um, there are a lot of positives, okay, in the psychedelic experience, in the psychedelic world. Not all of it is bad, okay? I'm just talking about the negative parts because there's so much excessive positivity around psychedelics, and it ignores these really big, glaring, obvious things. You'll hear things like, "Oh, psychedelics are so safe, and you could take your body weight in psychedelics, and you'll still live." Well, okay, you might be functioning and breathing afterwards, but you're probably not going to be living. You're going to be in a hospital somewhere talking to the walls. Okay. So, this is something to be aware of. You do need to take these things into account. All right. So that's just what I have to say about that. Know your real possibilities and your real problems that are associated with psychedelics, and don't go into it blindly. If you're a Christian, understand what the Bible is talking about sobriety. Don't go into psychedelics just, oh, someone said that it's going to help me overcome my depression. I want to get over my depression. Read the studies. Talk to people who've actually done it. Have interviews. This is your mind we're talking about, not your brain, but your mind. And so psychedelics don't just impact your neurology, they impact your psychology, your psyche, your spirit. I know psyche also means mind, but it actually means spirit. So you have to actually take that into account when you're exploring psychedelics. Really heed the warnings of the Bible. Don't just go into it and think, oh, I'm going to be just fine. Uh, it's okay to think that, but just make sure that you're doing your due diligence before you go into it. I've had very positive experience with psychedelics. I don't think I've had damn near any. Well, I've had some challenging experiences, genuinely challenging, not necessarily bad. If it ever got bad for me, I stopped doing it. It's that simple. I was just like, you know what? I'm having too many weird things happen in my life. I'm done. And I didn't touch them for like 2 years, literally 2 years. Okay. So, it wasn't until I felt like God was calling me back to it that I went back, and I've had exceptional growth and exceptional experiences as a result. But I just want to put that out there. All right, in the next video, we're going to actually talk about the 5 ways that you can engage with psychedelics safely if you're a Christian. By the end of that video, you'll be able to know how to safely explore the psychedelic experience, and this will be biblically based. Make sure you tune in for that if you're actually interested in exploring that. Let's see what's going on in okay. Okay. Yeah. There's this conversation. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Max. Let's see what Max said. Okay. Max from German said, yes, it makes you happy because this is what this plant, and they take it because of depression, yeah, and loved ones died or because he wants, yeah, yeah. So some people do it for various reasons. You're absolutely right, Max. Um, but just do your research. That's all. If you have a family history of psychosis of any kind, if you have certain mental illness issues in your family, you probably need to do it with the help of a licensed professional, someone who knows some parameters and can keep you safe. Um, that's all I'm gonna say. Look, I don't live in California. I live in another state, but I'm visiting California, and I have seen way too many mentally ill people in this state. And one of the correlates there is that this is one of the states where psychedelic usage is very high. There's a lot of psychedelic uses here, and I've seen an incredible amount of like psychotic, crazy, screaming at the sky people. Okay, so I'm just saying, in places where psychedelic usage is very high, there's a lot of psychos. So I don't know if that correlation is causation. Doesn't necessarily mean it is, but I'm just saying. So, we can't ignore obvious correlations. If you go to a place that has no fathers and there's a high crime rate, well, you might want to say, well, perhaps there's a correlation. Look into it. Perhaps be a little more cautious, right? So that's that. I think I've exhausted this topic. But in the next video, we want to talk about 5 ways to explore psychedelics safely and legally if you're a Christian. And again, mainstream Christians won't do this. This is only for Apex Christians. Thanks for watching. Oh, hey, Kayla. Thank you for joining. Oh, it's so nice to see you. Let me know what your age is so I can make sure that I tailor these videos, because I'm noticing that a lot of the ages are below 20. My watching viewership is in the 30s, like 20, above 20, like the long form videos. But then my lives are watched by a lot of kids. So I have to be a little more aware of that. I just want to make sure that I'm putting out content that serves the people that are watching and doesn't cause them to have harm. So let me know what your ages are. I'm keeping this as clean as possible, meaning not going into like deep adult topics and speaking the way I would to adults. Okay, because I really love kids. I think kids are great, and I really want to protect kids. From German. You guys be safe. Check out my next video. I'm going to put it up in just a moment. Thanks for watching.